Okay. And so really what we're going to talk about today are Head for the Cure's programs and all sorts of different aspects of our programs, and just some of that we have online resources, some that we do for our in-person events, and now that we've shifted to virtual events, some that we do there as well, what that looks like. Talk a little bit about our local beneficiaries in each market that we have and what that partnership looks like, our national beneficiary, the Brain Tumor Trials Collaborative, and then touch on my favorite program, Brains for the Cure, and our ambassadors. So like I said, feel free to ask any questions. Head for the Cure team, if you think of anything that should be asked and answered, please go ahead and do it. But we'll start off just touching on something that we wrapped up our last meeting with, and we kind of got cut short, were memorials. And so, Cheryl, if you want to talk a little bit about memorials and through our website and what that looks like.
It will be pretty brief. Christina is very familiar with the whole memorials process, and I'm sure that Lisa too is familiar with a lot of it. We quickly highlighted, and I'm not going to go through it as in depth as I did at the end of the last meeting quickly, but mainly, like I said, I deal with the website. I feel funny because I'm preaching to the choir here with the memorials that come in on the websites. And it is just a chance for us to help you remember people, for us to be part of the celebration of their life. They're forever in the hearts of those who lost them, and then they're forever remembered and celebrated on our memorial page too. And then I just feel funny doing this, but when they're published, I will let the person who submitted will receive an email. They'll get a link. Oftentimes, if it's someone who passed recently, they use that link to direct donations to Head for the Cure in that person's memory, and then I keep them updated on what is received. And this is partly for staff too, I urge people to do the memorial page first, especially with a recent loss, because on that, when they go to the memorial page and donate, they can leave a message, an online message for the family. And when I send them the spreadsheet with all the donations and the dollar amount, I also send them a copy of, they're also including that copy or any messages that anybody left, the specific person that they directed that message to. So they get that personal information. And then I like to get those all sent out before we ever move anything to a team, if that's the person's wish to donate them to the team, because those will disappear once I switch them out of a memorial and over to a team page. And then pretty much all other thing I have is I can help. We're here to help. I'm here to help anybody. I know Jenna has helped a lot of people who just, especially with they lost somebody that day or the day before, and it's difficult for them to pull that piece together. We can take the information, have them send us a picture. We'll produce the page for them to help them out. And for those of you, for any of you that somebody says, what do I write? I've had several people that I said, just go to the website, to the In Remembrance page, and just click on a couple of memorials and see what they say. Some of them do nothing more than send me a copy of the obituary, and it even has the service information and all that, everything's in there. Others write just tremendously heartbreaking, tear-jerking memory stories, and that's how they want to pour all that out there. So like I said, we're here to help. If they can get some help by checking out what's in there, and I can contact me at any time with any questions. And the other thing is, if they say, I made a mistake, I had the one I got the other day, the first email was, can you correct the date he died? Then I did that and got back to her, and she said, now can you correct the date he was born? So sometimes they're so out of it trying to get this done and trying to say what they want to say and get it published quickly that mistakes are made. They cannot change from their end, but I can change from my end. So I can always go through and revise. We've changed the pictures on a couple of them. They decided that was not the picture they still wanted in there. And then the other thing is just making sure, and Maddie and I have been talking about this week, that they realize that the celebration of life in the virtual video is not the same as a memorial page on the website. And they don't interact in any way. They're not connected in any way. And we're probably at some point, I think Kelsey and I were kind of talking about this, going back to some of the people who submitted a celebration of life for the virtual video, and invite them to now do a full memorial page on the website. So it's kind of going to be a back and forth coordinating, getting the celebration of life people to do the memorial page, and letting the memorial page people know that that is not going to be shown on the video. So that's pretty much all. Courtney, in answer to your question that you emailed today, all I can suggest, and I will reach out to the lady, her problem was that the birth date only goes back to 1930, and her grandfather was born in 1900, and she wants to do a memorial. So I am going to suggest to her that she go ahead and submit it. We can start with a note. I think I might be able to put a note. We'll probably just start out the memorial with a message saying that this person's birth date was actually 1900. And then I'll have to talk to Jerry Podasky and see if we can add more. That's the first time we've had that request. Yeah, we can go back a little farther. So, but I will let her know that. And, you know, anything weird like that comes up, we'll just see what we can do. And I think Jerry probably will be able to fix that, or give me a way to just go in, and I can't even fix it from my end at this point. So if you have any questions on memorials, like I said, I'm preaching to the choir here. Everybody knows what's going on, but be happy. Well, that was a new one today though, Courtney. Thank you. Had a new question. So
that was a one-off. I was like, that's we haven't had that before, but that's good. I'm glad that, you know, she still wants to remember him. So,
it's been a tough week, and it's going to get tougher because we lost 2 more in the last couple of days that I don't have memorials yet. So it's I mean, I'm glad we can do this for them. I know, you know, a lot of you know from personal experience that they die, and then you want to keep that memory going. You want to keep that loved one in people's hearts and people's minds. And I'm glad that we're able to do this, especially when they've suffered so tragically at the end. So anyway, I'm here for questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions and you're watching this video later, you can email Cheryl at headforthecure.org.
Yeah, with a C. Cheryl with a C.
Cheryl with a C. It's like a commercial. Fine. Christina, did you mean to raise your hand, or did you bump into that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I just, I guess I just am curious. I'm thinking we probably still have our memorial page up. But so can that stay up essentially forever, or does it make sense to, like, how do you guys recommend doing it? Because I actually haven't put any thought into, like, we did donations to her memorial after she passed, you know, for her actual memorial and service. We like asked people to send them there, but also now that we have a team, but it's also a joint team. So, you know, I don't know. Is there a recommendation for keeping it up longer and separate, and like at you know, like big, like holidays or different things, asking people to give to the memorial versus giving to the team, or you guys don't really care how it's done?
We, I don't think anybody, I think maybe one has been taken down since I've worked here. I would suggest leaving it up. I mean, I look at the memorials, and if somebody remembers Elizabeth on a birthday or a holiday, we let you know. And if you've got a current team that we can transfer over, or a team coming up in the next race, we can always switch those over. I think keeping the memorial page gives them a very clear place to go to and a very direct way to donate in their memory, and it doesn't get confusing. And then, like I said, afterwards we can always from our end move it over to a team. If at any point you want to update something, normally, I mean, it has happened a couple of times. I had a friend of a guy who died who said, hey, he was a Marine buddy and you don't have a picture. Could you put this picture up? And checked with his mom, and we finished out his memorial years later. But yeah, I would
Yeah,
suggest,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I would suggest leaving it up. You can like on her birthday say, hey, you know,
right,
if you want to read some more, here's the memorial page. And then maybe they'll see that little donate button and think, oh, I'd like to donate in her honor. So
Yeah, I can see on like birthdays or holidays, you know, like when people would have given her gifts or whatever, doing that instead, or obviously anniversary of like passing or something. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
We will do that.
We do have people who participated in a race with someone who's passed away, and every year when that race comes up, they do a donation in their name. And the team may be there, and maybe they're just not affiliated with the team anymore, but they still remember, you know, that past association. So yeah, we'll take them. We'll remember them forever.
Okay, that's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you both. Cordy, did you have a question, or were you fake raising your hand? Okay.
I must have just been doing this or something.
Doing the hair. Well, perfect. Well, thank you, Cheryl. And, you know, Cheryl is the most patient person. So, you know, our system is sometimes it's quirky and different things. So any questions and help you need, she's always more than happy to help. So thank you.
Getting really good at flipping those sideways pictures upright.
Yeah, well, after your practice yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads us into another program that we do for both our in-person and virtual events, our Celebration of Life, which is another way to honor and remember individuals that we've lost. And that is during the events specifically. And so, Maddie, if you want to talk a little bit about that and the Wall of Hope and what that looks like for both, you know, in-person and virtual events.
Yeah, so in person, we had it in Kansas City last year, so not many markets have gotten to see it because then the first one that had it after that was actually Detroit. So what the Wall of Hope is, or no, Celebration of Life is during an event, it is kind of like a walking memorial. So you can go in and kind of reflect on those that we've lost, read favorite quotes or memories submitted by loved ones. It's a great way to honor those that have passed at the event. We like to keep the submissions pretty short just because in the actual events, it's a pretty quick like read through. There's a lot of people there. And then during the virtual events, we convert those pictures that we use, the whole template actually that we'll use during the actual events, and we convert it into a video to be featured during the virtual event that premieres at the end of our virtual 5Ks. And then that video also gets shared on YouTube and on the Facebook page as well. And then another program we have is also kind of a program is the Wall of Hope. So Wall of Hope, most everyone's seen, it's like the I walk for, I run for pieces of paper that you fill out usually during an actual 5K the morning of and put on little string, so it's a full tent of who you walk for, which is another great way for honoring those that passed and those that are still continuing their battle. And we do also have kind of a version of that during the virtual 5K, where we don't actually have our own video of it, but we have it pop up on the screen in the corner, just so then people can still read and see who everyone is running and walking for.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think I said that really fast, but I feel like I covered everything.
No, you did. And it's like the little clothespins, the Wall of Hope that you see at the event, and it's everybody. And those are really, really nice. We have the big tub of markers that you can color your own. And now with virtual, you know, you can design it on your computer if you're good at that. I just take it and do it in person and take a photo, and then you can text it to us or email it to us, either way, and get it included. And what's nice is, you know, you can make as many as you want. And like my niece made one for Kansas City, so it's fun for her to fill one out and to color it. And then for Celebration of Life, including a photo, which is nice. But both of those for virtual events, both the Celebration of Life and Wall of Hope can be found on the event website. There's little buttons that you can click to go fill it out and find the form. And then for in-person events, the cards for Wall of Hope are there the day of. And Celebration of Life submissions are still accepted ahead of time, so we have time to print them out and laminate them and make them look nice. So that's still found on our website for the event. So awesome. Thanks, Maddie. Perfect. So a few other programs that we do, and this is, I think, I would say for the most part, I hate speaking for the team, but I'm gonna do it. I think it's probably the highlight of the event for most of us when we recognize all of our survivors. We bring them up to the stage for in-person events and just recognize them. Of course, our survivors get a gray shirt, one of our shirts that says survivor on the back. But for our virtual events, we include a collage that Laura and Kaylin, put together. So we ask individuals to send in their survivor photos so that they can be included and we can sort of recreate that moment. But right after that is when we do our Keeping the Faith and Legacy of Love recognitions. And we do both those in person and virtual. So Courtney, I'll let you talk a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, so you're not speaking for everyone. It is my favorite part, at least. So Keeping the Faith and Legacy of Love are two different awards or recognitions that we have. Keeping the Faith is only for those who are currently fighting or who have survived a brain tumor. And then Legacy of Love is for those caregivers. So you can find them on our website. We do ask that you submit them before the race, just so we can create the special boards. And we do have the awards that we are handing out. So people will get a physical kind of board that has a story, as well as a really nice plaque that Kaylin designs. So it's really great. And, we bring the family up for each award. So for Keeping the Faith, normally a caregiver nominates their loved one who's currently fighting or is a survivor, and they write a story about them, whether it's, their whole story about their journey, or if it's just kind of a little snippet, it's up to them. And then include a picture as well, and that is printed out on the board, and then we will post it to the event and website after the fact, just because sometimes people do surprise others with this. So it's a really special thing to see. We bring the families up, the survivor up, and we take pictures as we're reading the story, and it's just a really good feeling type of thing that we have, and to honor some. Yes, Kelsey.
When you're done, can you say why it's called Keeping the Faith? I think that's kind of tricky too. Thanks.
So it's a really great thing for the whole community to hear, just because that's the reason why they're here, and that's the reason why we're fighting. So the name Keeping the Faith came from our president and founder, his brother, who had battled a glioblastoma and passed away, and that's how the whole foundation was started. He always ended his emails with Keeping the Faith. So it's something just to keep going in life, keep pushing forward. And, I think that's a really special, and I think it's a perfect name for a tribute like this. And then Legacy of Love, that is new to every market this year. It originated in North Texas, which is our Dallas market, that I luckily get to work with, and the amazing people down there. And they have done this award for the past, I think, 10 years, just because they honor different caregivers. And I think that's really, really special for formerly being a caregiver myself, and, just seeing those who, help their families or their loved one, day in and day out with this disease. And it's kind of the same thing. People will submit previous stories before the race, upload a picture on the website. We do the same board and the same type of plaque award that we hand out as well, and we'll read their stories aloud, take all those pictures that you want, and it's really, really great. I was able to see a couple in previous years just because I am part of North Texas, but I was really bummed that we weren't able to do it this year in person. However, we do have videos for both the Keeping the Faith and the Legacy of Love in our virtual events this year. So we get those created. We still read the stories, we still showcase pictures, and we still honor everyone. So it's still really special, and you can find those on our website.
It is really special. It's nice. And yeah, the day of for in-person events, you get your really cool poster board with your story submission on it. And a lot of times it is a nice surprise, like Courtney said, and your nice glass plaque that says love or faith. But don't worry, virtual events get them as well. We just mail them afterwards. So mailed with love and fragile stickers that Cheryl has. So thank you for that. It's really nice. And you're right, Courtney, it just sort of is a really inspiring moment and moving, and it really shows what we're all here to fight for and things. So thank you. Any questions, anybody, about anything we've covered so far? we've only got two more topics left, so we're just kind of cruising right along. Perfect. So I just wanted to touch real quick on how Head for the Cure, fundraises and what our funds go to support. So what I found to be really unique about Head for the Cure when I first got involved, what was it, in 2018, 2017? I don't remember. But I think it's neat that, even though we're a national organization and we're now in 30 cities, it doesn't feel like we're necessarily a national organization because we have 10 employees or so, but also because in each of our cities we have a local partner and a local beneficiary where funds from that particular event will stay and support that local clinic or hospital partner. I think it's really nice to be able to support a clinic that maybe your loved one or someone that you knew was treated at or is being treated at. So knowing that some of your funds are staying there and maybe supporting where they're still being treated. So, different options and things. We know we have Detroit coming up, and Hermelin Brain Tumor Center, they were able to buy new equipment last year with the funds that were raised. That makes a huge difference in their treatment and what they're doing. And that's huge for them and for the people in Detroit to be able to see their funds and what it's actually supporting. So it's really neat. And that's in all of our cities. And then we also partner with our national beneficiary, which is really unique. The Brain Tumor Trials Collaborative, which is a network of, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, 33 clinics. Oh, yeah. So that's my old basketball number. It's okay, that's how I know. But 33 clinics around the country. And this is actually started and founded by, Head for the Cure, the funding for it and different things, and by Dr. Gilbert. And so they do clinical trials and they all share information for the trials. And that to me is, I guess I didn't realize before, is super unique because it's hard to share that information. And a lot of times clinics don't share that. And so having this network and web of clinics all working together, it just means progress can happen that much more quickly. So it's nice that you see some of your funds stay local, but also supporting clinical trials and people who down the road will one day face the same diagnosis. So it feels like you're supporting both present and future, which is pretty cool. I'm biased, I think, but I do think it's pretty cool.
And many of the local beneficiaries that we work with are also members of the Brain Tumor Trials Collaborative. So for some of our events, even though it's, going local and nationally, it's still also supporting that local organization as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. I forget about
that. If I can just jump into one thing I would say is just being through it with our mom is that, it's not, if you have a brain tumor, it's not that easy to just move yourself across the country. But when you're trying to figure out, what are all your options and is there something better somewhere else, it's really nice to know that people are working together across the country and you don't have to pick yourself up and move to Texas just for better care or, up to Mayo Clinic or whatever, because sometimes that's not feasible and there's value in being home. So yeah, we experienced that with Dr. Walbert at Henry Ford too, that he was really in tune with what was happening around the country.
He really is. Dr. Walbert's one of a kind, for sure.
He is. We loved him.
He's great. Cheryl, you had your hand raised. Did you change your mind?
No, I was just gonna, Laura made the point I was gonna make.
Okay.
Just that they don't not only get money locally as the local beneficiary, but they also, being part of the BTTC, also benefit from that national grant too. So
it's cool. It's cool. And then something to keep in mind, so like memorials, donations that are made to memorials that don't then get moved over to an event support those program grants and our BTTC grants. And so it's supporting still that fight, of finding a cure and different things. Our merch sales, after we cover costs, support our grants and our funding. So we're just trying to chuck every dollar that we can to really find a cure, because that's what we're all here for. It's what we want. So speaking of programs that we fund, did you see that segue? Yeah. So Laura, if you'd like to talk a little bit about our programs and maybe specifically Brains for the Cure.
I would be more than happy to.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So yes, as Kelsey mentioned, funds that are donated to memorials, when you purchase merchandise, if you donate to any of our giving campaigns for Go Grand May or GBM Awareness Day, those support either the BTTC or different programs that we have, our largest being Brains for the Cure. So for those that don't know, Brains for the Cure was launched in 2017, and then we rebranded a little bit in 2019, and then we just kind of sort of relaunched the site again on Monday. So very exciting things happening for Brains for the Cure. We had the site, created in 2017 to be an online resource, primarily for patients at the time, providing information about, different treatment options, what exactly, does a brain tumor diagnosis mean, what are possible symptoms and side effects from treatment, what are different clinical trials you can be a part of, resources for support groups, or for information about, changing your diet or exercising more, different lifestyle changes that could potentially, help you throughout treatment and things like that. So that kind of started out, was the, initial idea behind Brains for the Cure. When we kind of transformed it a bit in 2019, we kind of changed it to be a little more current. We include now on our homepage of the site, we have more up-to-date news articles from some of our partner hospitals that are either a local beneficiary or a member of the BTTC. We have articles from ambassadors, which I will talk about momentarily as another one of our programs, and from staff members as well, one of which being Courtney, who has a caregiver series. And so that gives a little bit more, up-to-date information about, what's happening in research, but then also, for example, again, Courtney's is sharing her journey as a caregiver and different things that she went through while she was caring for her mom. And so things like that keep it a little more current. And then we also, right now we have over, I think 230 videos right now, mostly from patients and physicians, but we just went through our caregiver initiative, which is what we launched on Monday. And so we'll have probably at least another 100 or so videos from caregivers talking about their journey, because we know a brain tumor diagnosis, impacts the patient greatly, but impacts caregivers a large amount as well. And so we realized that was something that was missing from Brains for the Cure. And so we decided that was information that we needed to have there. A lot of times caregivers are the ones that are making treatment decisions or are a part of the decision. So they want, they need to have those resources as well. And so we wanted to provide that. So on brainsforthecure.org, we've changed the navigation of it a bit. So if you're a patient, you kind of go down one route. And if you're a caregiver, you kind of go down another route. You can find the videos that I mentioned. We have them organized based on what type of caregiver you are. So like what your relationship is to the person that's diagnosed. So whether you're a parent, a sibling, a child, a friend, whatever that relationship might be, we know that kind of varies your experience as well and kind of plays into that. And so we have videos from different people who have been in that same journey. We have other resources as well, similar to what I mentioned of, what are the treatment options? How can I find clinical trials? How can I find a second opinion? We have a map of doctors that we have partnerships with. So our map does not showcase all of the brain tumor centers in the United States. There are many more, but these just happen to be the ones that we are partnered with, primarily the BTTC sites. And so you can find all of that on our website. And as well on there is our ambassadors. So we launched our ambassador program in May of 2019. I have to remember how long I've worked here to remember when things happened. So in May of 2019, we launched our initial ambassador program, and it was comprised of 12 individuals, most of which were patients or survivors, one of which is Lisa, who's on the call with us today. And so they help contribute to some of those stories that I mentioned on Brains for the Cure. They help contribute to videos as well, and then also just helping us have a presence within the community that they live in. So we have several from all over the country. We have, we're based in Kansas City, but as Kelsey said, we're in 30 cities for our events. So we try and, spread the ambassadors around. And then so along with our caregiver initiative, we introduced our caregiver ambassadors, one of which is Courtney on the call. And so right now we have 7 caregiver ambassadors, again, kind of varying of where they're located, if their loved one has passed or if their loved one is a survivor or currently in treatment, kind of what type of relationship they have as the caregiver. So those kind of vary a good amount, and you can read their stories on our website, and then you also have the option to send them an email. So if you are kind of looking to talk with someone who has gone through a similar situation, whether your loved one is currently in treatment, if they're post-treatment, or if they have passed, you can connect with those individuals as just someone to talk with, if that's what you're looking for. We also have Caregiver Conversations. We're going to have our first one actually tomorrow night. So today is Wednesday, September 23rd. For those that are watching this afterwards, it is happening Thursday, September 24th at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that is a space for caregivers to come meet other caregivers. It's all taking place virtually on Zoom, very similar to this meeting. And we'll have different facilitators, doctors, nurses, social workers, support group leaders, different people to kind of lead the conversation. We'll do these once a month. So each month we'll have a different facilitator and we'll focus on a different topic. This first one we're just kind of doing as a get to know you kind of thing. And those will happen once a month, as I said, on the last Thursday of every month, pending holidays, because we didn't think anyone wanted to meet on Thanksgiving or New Year's Eve. So that's kind of Brains for the Cure and ambassadors in a nutshell, but would definitely encourage anyone who is on currently or who is watching this later to go explore the site. We are planning to kind of mimic the feel of the caregiver pages to then be the same on the patient pages. We kind of tried to clear up the navigation a little bit to make it easier to find the information that you're looking for. And then also for anyone who is watching this, Lisa's is already one. So Christina, if you're interested in being an ambassador, but then whoever is watching this video later, if you are interested in being an ambassador as a caregiver, as a patient, as a survivor, as a doctor, as a supporter, as whoever you are, you can email me at laura@headforthecure.org to get more information about that. But those are our 2 largest programs. We have lots of them, but those are the 2 big ones. So if anyone has
Laura,
any questions,
I would definitely talk to you about that in the future.
awesome.
I have kind of a lot going on right now, so I was thinking maybe I should hold off. But at some point, yeah, we can talk about it.
For sure. That would be awesome.
That's great. Thank you, Laura. Thanks, Christina. It's exciting. I wrote down to say, Brains for the Cure, with all those videos and different things, I really think that it's a nice resource. Even though our loved one has passed, it's still, it's nice to hear stories from others, people's experience. I feel like it's like when I don't know, it's like you don't feel like a lot of people who are impacted by brain tumors and in the brain tumor community until you are, or until you know someone personally, and then it's like everywhere sort of thing, and it's too many places. And so hearing the stories of others and knowing that, you know, it can feel isolating and alone, and no matter how you're impacted, whether it was you or your loved one or a friend and things, it's nice to know that you're not alone. So Brains for the Cure and the videos really, really show that. That's how I feel about brains. So, well, those are all our topics for the evening we just touched on, but does anybody have any questions, concerns, anything to add? Like I said, any non sequitur questions, so it can be about anything if you want. Comments, feedback? Yes, Christina?
I'm just wondering, since Detroit is coming up for a virtual race, what have you seen or heard people doing in terms of like kind of building up to encouraging people to watch it?
That's a good question. Maddie, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, so we have a couple people doing like those that are comfortable doing like team brunches. A lot of people are doing walks like after the event. I had a couple people actually celebrate last weekend because it was their loved one's birthday. So they celebrated then and then are going to watch later when it actually airs. So there's definitely, it's up to whatever you and your team are comfortable with. I know you guys already kind of did a little bit of you guys are one of the main runners in it. But it's really just,
and
I
we'll
recommend,
do a true 5K on the day of, but we have people across the country, obviously, so I'd love to kind of build up some excitement to watching, just in general, to build awareness too. I mean, honestly, I've kind of not been as pulled together as I would have liked to for all the fundraising stuff this year. But I did post it on I've been posting it on Instagram a lot. And then I posted on Facebook yesterday, and people donated that I know, but I would never, I mean, like, they didn't know Mom, you know? So it's interesting. It is kind of crazy how social media can really reach Christina, a lot of people.
What's
it really
cool is I think, you know, Maddie will be sending out some e-blasts next week to everybody with some good information about the event that might be good to forward along to people. But also, we'll schedule like the event video on Facebook a little bit ahead of time, probably maybe the day before or so. I look at Laura.
So we can share that then and invite people.
When you share, once the link's live, you can share it, and then it'll actually stream from your page, so other people can share it and they'll see it pop up whether they know what it is or not. So that's a really good way is just getting it out there and sharing it once it's live. And if you have trouble finding the link on our Facebook, it'll also be posted on the headforthecure.org /Detroit. You'll be able to find the link there.
Okay.
And also send out an email like 15 minutes before the event with the links for the Facebook and the YouTube as well.
Okay. Because, I mean, not that people don't like me as a person. I just got to thinking, maybe some of these people are more passionate about it for other reasons and like would be interested in watching, you know, since they donated. I mean, maybe they just donated because of me and my story, but maybe not, you know, so.
You just never know with social media.
Yeah, I definitely say just sharing stuff on social is definitely the best way to go to raise extra awareness, because then once they like it or donate, then other people on their friends list sees it. It's crazy how much that snowballs into something big.
Exactly. Okay, cool.
I'll also add to that. Sorry, I changed.
Yeah.
I will also add that one thing that's been nice this year is that it kind of seems more like a continuation than just like one event. Like Kansas City was like that day. And this year I've had a lot more donations come in like before and after. Like I'm still getting emails that like somebody donated or like, and they leave registration open for a little bit after. So I feel like this year's had the opportunity for it to be more like continuation than just like one event.
Yeah, cool.
And then Christina, Detroit's will also stay open until Monday, October 12th. So anyone that sees it like that following week can still register and get a shirt.
Okay, perfect. So that's good to know.
It's pretty cool because we've seen, like Lisa said, you know, people see the video who didn't plan on watching the video, and then they're like, whether they're motivated because they want to join the cause and they want to register, or because they see these really cool purple shirts and they're like, I gotta get one. You know, whatever their motivation is, they're being involved and they're supporting. So we're seeing a lot of that after the video premieres, which is spectacular. Cool. These cool shirts you designed, Kaylin. Well, perfect. I think that wraps up. We're just done 15 minutes early. Not too bad. I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff. I hope you guys feel the same. Again, I'm biased. But that's it. And we'll be back next month. I can't remember the date. Laura, do you remember?
28th.
Wednesday the 28th.
Because Caregiver Conversations is the 29th.
Oh, no, it's the 21st.
Just kidding. I thought it was the last Wednesday.
Guys, it's the 21st. That's okay.
Caregiver Conversations is still the 29th.
Perfect. Well, if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to email me. It's Kelsey with an I at headforthecure.org. But otherwise, I'm going to stop recording because I'm running to see this.